Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing this March the 30th, 2025. Early afternoon, 3 o'clock, crypto and altcoin update. Still do not want to buy you. We're going to talk about altcoins right now. And then in tonight's update, we'll go into our traditional major coins and some breaking news. But you can see in Coreum right here, we were talking about during the week, Coreum is on a major support level. And we ask you to comment down below and bell notification to get that first mover advantage and the power of the message that we're trying to change with truth, integrity, trust, information, and education. Support the channel by becoming a member of the growing movement of the cheapest for $3.99 a month and best value member jabroni killers in the video description or the pinned comment or on my homepage, and you would get that powerful first mover advantage with truth and trust and information that you can use to make an informed and educated and precise decision for yourself. But Coreum, we were talking about being on this major support level right here, potentially trying to bounce, with scenario one would be there in red, where you attempt to try to bounce off of it, maybe come up into the shorter term moving averages, and then get rejected and end out near that 0.064 cents. Or you could have a big pump off a major support level and try to make another run up to 20 cents. As you can see, Coreum, since this coin got brought in by one of our lovely subscribers, has been on a big downturn. And we're on a critical support level, which is near the all-time low. And if you break this low right here, you're going to come down to the all-time low in red, which is that horizontal bottom. Of course, we're going to have to do that because we're just going to get bombarded with notifications and nonsense while we're trying to make this. But if you break that major support level that you're at now, you would most likely come to an all-time low, which is down there at that bottom target of 0.06. So we're going to watch out for that in Coreum. If we look at AAVE, was one that our subscriber was talking about that we were looking at about a month ago. About a week ago. AAV's been on a major downturn, and I don't have any TA on this for some reason. I thought I did, but I don't. But AAV is coming off of a big, massive rally after, I think it was about a 90% dump, and now we've had a big rally to the upside. We're going to have to get some lines and TA on this later this evening. I'm mobile right now, so we're just going to have to do this off-key, but we have gotten rejected off that top. We're below the major moving averages. You can see we've had a bearish cross here with the 50, actually a golden bearish cross in the daily, where the short-term moving average is below the 100 and the 200. And what I would say now on this quick little analysis, you're more than likely going to trade back down, and we'll get some lines on here because this was a coin that my subscriber, Jabroni Killer member, wanted. But if we had to do, some quick look at it, I would say this is probably where you're headed down towards after you've had the golden bearish cross coming off of a massive rally. Let's get a price note. I would say your next major underneath support is down here at about 80 cents. And the reason we're going with 80 cents is you can see all that support and resistance from 2022 all the way through July of 2024. That was a major support and resistance zone. So that's what I'm looking at and targeting for Coreum. Let's get back into here. That's why we weren't on the ones that we wanted to see. Agix is another altcoin that got brought to my attention. You can see when it got brought to my attention, it was on this major pump. We had a rising channel in blue, a head and shoulders. You can see that. It really wasn't defined in the daily, but the 4-hourly it was. And we were telling you we had an initial target of the top part of this purple zone at about 0.015 cents, not to FOMO into a massive pump. We're about to have the bearish cross now, where we've been telling you it's going to happen, where you can see the 200-day moving average is sitting just below the 50-day moving average, and then the 200-day is just below that. They're all running parallel. We almost hit our underneath target of 0.00867. We had a slight bounce off of that, but the bearish cross is in effect, we could see a slight pump off the 200-day moving average that we had drawn out there last week, the last time we looked at XC on it a few days ago. And if it does, the highest I believe it would go would be the descending 50-day moving average. That's about, still, do not want to buy anything that you're advertising or your bullshit trading you plus for $5 billion a year. But you would get rejected at that descending 50 or the top part of that blue-purple resistance box. And I believe you're ultimately coming back down to this 0.006. And then I think there's even a strong chance that you could have a full lateral move back to the downside as this completes itself, back down to where you see this horizontal, looks like a red line sticking out like a sore thumb. And that is actually the mean of the volume for the whole history of this coin that we've been tracking. And I would put that, I'm going to mark that right here for you. Down there is where I believe that this might be going. And oftentimes you see this after a massive, massive rally, you get a full lateral dump after all the hype and all the buyers and all the momentum. So that's what I'm going to watch out for in XCX. It's already down substantially from its blow-off top high. We warn not to FOMO into this. There hasn't been any capitulation. As you can see, this is an orderly decline, and there is always capitulation to the upside or capitulation to the downside before there's a short-term or more longer-term pattern change, and we have not seen a capitulation yet. It's been an orderly decline, so we're going to continue to track for capitulation. The same thing as VTHO. It had a massive pump. We were out ahead of this for my Jabroni Killer members and subscribers. We told you we were likely to come down to where the move started when we were way up here on that wick, which would be the capitulation to the upside. You see the hyper pump to the upside. That is capitulation to the upside. We haven't seen that to the downside. This has been an orderly decline in this coin as well. And I'm thinking that there could be a little bit of pumps to the upside, but I think the overall next major move is going to come to the downside. And that next major move to the downside, I think, is coming all the way down here to that purple or pinkish 0.00103 level, and a full lateral move back to the downside, just like the last coin that we looked at. And that's something that we're going to continue to follow. And that's the reason why I always hesitate you to tune into stations as a coin is pumping that are always promoting hype trains, or always promoting shenanigans, or always giving you the bullish scenario, because after a massive pump, that is not the time to accumulate or to buy for the first time. You want to let the market settle. There will always be a better buying opportunity after a massive pump. The same thing as we've seen in LCX. We've broken down to the downside. We've hit our target at 14 cents, something that we were waiting for. And you can see in green, we thought there could be some kind of a bounce off of that 14 cents. And if you zoom in, you can see in the wicks in the daily time frame, we did pump back up as high as the 100-day moving average, just below that 22 cents. We got up to about 19.5 cents. Then we got rejected back down. So it did come up like we thought. Didn't come up quite as high as we thought the max potential was, but I believe, like we have drawn here, you're coming in LCX down to the 9 cents. And we're going to continue to watch. I think that's 9 cents. And we're going to continue to watch out for that steadily decline. And then there could be a decent rally off of the top part of that yellow trading and support resistance box. So that's something that we're going to be watching. DIA is the same thing. You can see it's headed down to our underneath target. We diagnosed, again, for you out of the field, this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern, giving you the first mover advantage, the same as we did with the Bitcoin, the same as we did with the Dogecoin, the same as we did with the XRP and the XLM. And now the rest of the market, Vincenzo, it's starting to catch on to the fucking shit you've been telling us. And that's what we do here to give you that first mover advantage, to keep you out ahead of the field and out ahead of the market, to give you that first mover advantage before the rest of the shysters, the rest of the criminal gangsters, and the rest of the infiltrated influencers try to persuade you and play on your emotions. And that's the value of Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. We had that head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We had our first target on that of 38 cents, and then we had a little bit of a bounce back off of that technical move, because they're often to almost always is after you hit a technical target. And then we had our major underneath target down here at 25 cents, and I still believe that's where you're going. If we look at, just to round out this short update, we're going to a Nephews basketball game. You can see XRP, don't want to buy you. XRP, the masses are now picking up that we're in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. The mainstream, as well as the infiltrated criminal influencers that fleece, heist, and shiest on a daily basis to try to cover themselves now, are starting to talk about below $2 XRP. Well, thank you very much when XRP is sitting at $2.15, that there could be a major breakdown to the downside. Old Vincenzo with that first mover advantage has been on top of this ever since we broke that 340 top and started to trade down right there in mid-January when we were on that long consolidation. We've been telling you we're in a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We have an underneath target from that head and shoulders of $1.29, and that's where we still believe we're going. We've had a breakdown this week on and the end of last week as expected. We're coming onto the neckline again at $2.09 in purple. That is your neckline of the head and shoulders. And this time is the fourth time in about a month that we're hitting this neckline. I believe we're going to break below it and hit the 200-day moving average, followed by a small rally. And then in the coming weeks, we're going to have that technical breakdown to $1.29. I need you to stay informed, to stay educated, to keep that first mover advantage. Become members of Jabroni Killers for an industry cheap $3.99 a month. And we'll break down all this with the news on the nightly daily update. Peace and love. The Rock's Eyebrow J, with a current temperature of a gloomy, rainy 63 degrees. Peace and love. The Rock's Eyebrow.